Memorial Day has come and gone, but because time has no meaning now, I don't think anyone even noticed the 3-day weekend. But after a few virtual graduations, the summer season is upon us. To give us a few words of wisdom, we'll be chatting with one of the baddest women in the ortho game, the midwife to newborn practices, Mrs. Jill Allen. Turn your phone to Do Not Disturb. It's time for some straight talk. Welcome to episode 3 of Straight Talk. My name is Tracy Barton, and I'm the founder and lead consultant at Straight Consulting. With me, as always, are my co-hosts and fellow consultants, Scott Caldwell and Janelle Baum. Hey guys, thanks for being here.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Hi, everyone. I'm going to try not to dance. Every time the camera crew puts the camera on me, I'm always dancing, so I'm going to just say hi today.
We like it when you dance.
I love it. How's your week going, Janelle?
Wonderful. What about you guys?
It's been good.
It's been a really good week, actually.
Yeah.
We've been doing a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we got episode 2 out the door, which was awesome. I think we had so much fun with Alyssa
was great.
last week.
Yeah.
Had a blast.
That was
It was
a lot of
fabulous.
fun.
And I realized too that I didn't share last week. We were asking kind of like how everyone's doing. I realized I got the best news I've had of the entire quarantine last week, and that is that on July 3rd. Hamilton the musical is coming to Disney Plus. So that just made my quarantine.
Yay.
So we talk about being in the room where it happens all the time, and July 3rd we get to see it.
We're gonna be in the room.
I've actually never seen it on Broadway or touring, so I'm very excited about that.
That'll be awesome.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
That'll be awesome. Well, let's jump in. Our guest today is a household name in the orthodontic space. When it comes to consultants in our industry, she's at the top of her game. I've known of her for years, but over the last year or so, I've also been fortunate enough to know her personally and now really consider her a good friend. The word badass gets thrown around a lot, but I can tell you in her case, it's 100% accurate. Please give it up for our pal, Mrs. Jill Allen.
Yay!
Hi, everybody. Hello.
Hi.
Thanks for coming to the show, Jill.
I am super excited to be a part of this. Thank you so much for inviting me.
I'm excited to have you. Okay, so you want to just jump in with questions? Because I feel like Jill is used to being interviewed.
Yeah, it's not her first rodeo.
It's not her first rodeo. I guess, well, before I get into my questions, let's catch up real quick. I've been watching your social accounts over the weekend, or week really, and you've been camping. Tell us about your camping trip.
Oh, I love it. So camping is like my happy place. If I need to get out, I need to, just unwind, unpack my mind a little bit. Camping is where I love to go. And I am so lucky because I'm here in Colorado that it is, within an hour, I can be up on a hill somewhere. And I'm a big motorcyclist, so it isn't just camping, but I've got to, take my 2-wheel friend with me, and away we go.
That's awesome. I know you grew up there, right? In Colorado?
Yes, I actually, kind of fun story. I've been here almost my whole life, and I went to Golden High School, which is where my business is located. My husband is a Lakewood graduate. He's also a Colorado native. So we are born and bred pretty much. Well, I was born in Missouri, moved here when I was 5, so I can call myself a native. My husband, 100%. So we love it. We love it.
And Golden, Colorado being the home of Coors Light, correct?
Oh.
Of Coors.
Coors in general, yeah.
It's Coors Light.
Some people do drink the Yellow Belly, the banquet beer, I know.
That's a big deal out here, yes. And I got a lot of family members that have actually worked at the plant and have worked at the plant. So, heritage company for sure.
Oh man, that's awesome.
I love it.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
When I was a little girl, because I grew up again in Golden, and the brewery would be doing the beer, I always thought that they were doing, because I didn't understand hops at the time and the smell of, all of that. And I always thought the school was making some horrible lunch. and then as I got older, I'm like, oh, I know what this is.
I love it. Jill,
That's awesome.
I am dying to ask you, do you actually drive the motorcycle yourself, or does your husband drive it?
Oh, no. That is all my baby right there. I have a KTM 250 XCW, which is a 4-stroke motorcycle. And I have been riding motorcycles pretty much my whole life. Love it. I don't have any girlfriends to ride with, so I have to ride with the boys, and wherever they take me I gotta put on my big girl panties and do it. And I love it.
That is awesome, Jill.
Do you do any of the road bikes, or is it just the dirt bike off-road stuff?
Right now, off-road. I'm actually going to get my motorcycle endorsement for street bike. That's on my list this year once they open back up again. And then, so right now, my husband has a Harley. I'm a Batgirl babe on the Harley, which I actually really enjoy, being able to not have to think too much. But I am going to get my endorsement because actually it's more for the off-road bikes. We want to be able to ride them on the roads. There are times where we just need to do that. So
that's awesome. When you ride on his Harley, do you have the leathers? Are you the full head to toe? Do you have like the assless chaps?
I do have the full chaps. No. Nobody needs to see that up in the air.
I do. I wear those too, except mine are called Spanx.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, we have our riding gear that we wear. I'm not like full on Sturgis babe or anything, but it's fun. I love it.
So cool. I'm so impressed.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, Jill, now, like I said in my intro there, I've known Jill for a number of years, or known of Jill for a number of years. But for the people that have been under a rock and just happen to not know your background, do you want to maybe just explain when you, actually, I don't know when you started consulting. When did this start?
So the actual role of consulting started 14 years ago when I opened up my business and got into it. My niche per se is that startup realm and doctors who've been in practice 8 years or less. So I really love that kind of down in the trenches, get in, help somebody figure out how to do business, whether it is training with a team member or working with a doctor. So that's kind of where the consulting aspect started. As a total, I've been in our industry 28 years now. And it's, it's kind of hard to think back and go, oh my gosh, I've been doing this long. But I love it. I started as a sterilization assistant way back when, we were, and as I learned to become an orthodontic assistant, we were bending straight wire and still tap welding bands. So that kind of gives you an idea.
Wow.
Right? Good or bad, how long I've been doing it.
Did you chisel them out of stone? Was it
Yes, exactly.
Did they sign contracts on papyrus? Was that or did you use cuneiform to close?
Yes, exactly. It's when, the DOS operating systems were still, just coming online, and it's really crazy to think about, and just so much fun to see how far our industry has come. It's great. I love it.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome. I love startups too. I like that energy, that that grit that you have to have, and that
for sure.
I just like there's more things happening than than in some of our other client offices where we're just trying to tweak a few things. I like the whole overhaul. I think that's a lot of fun too. So
yes,
and the reward afterwards, I'm sure, is exhilarating.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's been so great over the last 8 years just to see all of, I call them my startups, because I could kind of be the mom to some of these, guys and gals.
Your baby ducks.
They are. And it's just so absolutely wonderful to see, to know their fears and their anxiety from where they started, than to see where they're at, 8 years later in an industry, or to see, that they are, becoming influencers, or, they're just so good with their own peers, and it just makes me so proud and so happy.
What was it about startups that really drew you? Because obviously in this space, people tend to specialize in a variety of things. What was it about working with those startups specifically that was like, that's what I want to really dial in on?
That's a good question.
Sure. And I think it kind of goes back to when I decided to become a consultant. I knew that there was some really great sages in our industry, and I just didn't want to be in that realm. I didn't want to compete with them. And not like competition isn't healthy, but it just wasn't where I wanted to be. And as I started thinking about, the startups, I had an opportunity to work with a couple doctors when I was still, in the industry, being paid like as an office manager, practice manager. And I'd had an opportunity to work with one doctor in particular who was kind of taking it as a startup. And I was like, I just really love this, like figuring it out and figuring out the pieces. And so when I got into when I decided to start my business, I really realized there's just nobody out there to really help doctors figure out how to go from being in school or being an associate to owning their own business. And even though they have the clinical aspect of it, they just didn't have the business piece, to be able to put all of that together. And, it was an area that I really liked. And I like working in the whole practice versus just, just like the treatment coordinating or just the financials or just, and I just had, there's just such, you really have to take a holistic approach. And when you're working with startups, you have to have your fingers in everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was just part of what it just kind of drew me in that direction.
Oh, I love it. Is that how you met Cole Johnson?
Yes.
Our first guest.
Episode
one. Yes. Cole was, his nickname for me, he'd every time I get a call, I'd be like, hey, Jilly Bean. And, he'd be like, I'm thinking this, or I'm worried about this. And, it was just, Cole was a delight. He's such a big personality anyways, but, how much fun to, get to, again, take him, and that's what I say to a lot of my clients that I work with is, Cole didn't start off where he is now. And you should be encouraged by that because, everybody has to start from that, that inception of, I think I want to own my own practice, and then you get to grow it from there. So yeah, Cole was a fun one amongst many, many others, wonderful docs out there that I've had the pleasure of working with.
I love that.
I'm sure everyone's wondering, what is your team like? How many people do you have on your team and who are they?
Oh, that's such a fun question. So, it's been a fun evolution with my team. I started with one part-time employee, which was actually my daughter, Jordan. And a lot of people out there have been able to meet Jordan along the way. And, she was kind of like my first, oh my gosh, I need help and can you help me? And then I brought on Jessie, who has been my, just my rock over the time and really, helps train my other consultants. And then I brought on Jen and I have other, consultants that have just come along. So I think right now we're at 6 full-time consultants that work with me. So it's really fun. It's been quite an evolution. And I will have to tell you, just like probably every doctor out there who's listening, when we go through COVID and all of a sudden you're like it's always a pressure to know there's a lot of people depending on you for their livelihood. But gosh, oh my goodness, this is all on me.
Yes.
And how did I get here? But so that's where we're at right now.
Oh my gosh. Now that's a team, man.
Yeah.
Just trying to wrangle us 3 is a.
And JJ, let's not forget.
And JJ,
who helps wrangle us.
That's true. That's true. And JJ. Yeah. Wow. That's a big team.
So now, Jill, I also think I read this right. This summer you will be celebrating. Is it your 30th wedding anniversary?
It is.
Because you married your high school sweetheart, right? Is that right?
I did marry my high school sweetheart, Doug, and it's quite a journey. We got married right out of high school, had babies when we were young, and knew nothing better than to have a family, do babies. And it just, for anybody who's been married, being in a marriage and, it takes work, you have to work to get to 30 years. And we have definitely done that. And, when you're 19, 18 and 19 getting married, you don't know a lot about yourself and you don't know a lot about the big world of, being married, but it's such a pleasure. And, Doug is my best friend now. And it's so wonderful. So 30 years.
That's awesome.
Congrats. That's
So then,
thank you.
what advice would you have? I mean, there's been plenty of people, obviously, who are weathering quarantine with, who are in much younger relationships than 30 years. Obviously, you guys probably have a rhythm at this point, but for the newlyweds or the younger couples, like how has it been for you guys? Like, what secrets would you share from 30 years marriage?
Oh yeah, we need that.
I would say that, I think there's always a time in marriage where you want to change the other person. And, I think sometimes we kind of get in that mode where I will make them what I want them to be. And I think you have to let go of that and just appreciate who they are for who they are. I think you grow together, and you hope that you want to change for each other for the better, to become one. And so, I would say just being able to appreciate each other's pros and cons that you bring to the marriage, and being able to give grace, because I think we all need to give some grace, when we're going through times where it's like, did they really mean that? Was that really personal? Did he really mean to attack me, or was that a little bit more situational, or vice versa? So I think just giving some grace and not taking things so I don't know, so hard sometimes.
That
is great advice. Good job.
Okay, so I have something that I have not shared with anybody before, but when I started straight wire consulting, before it changed to straight consulting, that first year that I opened the business, I spent that year at Starbucks. Like, that was my headquarters, just researching the business of orthodontics, because I was moving from, in-office auxiliary or management to, really looking at it from a more business perspective. And at that time, I found that the best resource was to go back through and read all of the Ortho Town magazine archives. And there was an article in there from Miss Jill Allen, and that's where I first found out about Jill Allen. And so I have to tell you that was so important for me. It was such a great resource. You really outlined what aspects of startups and how production played a role, and at what point they could really kind of morph from moonlighting at more of a corporate office and actually coming over full-time to their own practice. And that was such valuable information that I could not find anywhere else. And I just really wanted to give you kudos for just being such a great expert in our field. And I just want to be like you one day.
You go, girl.
Oh, Tracy, that's so sweet. Thank you. That means the world to me. You just have no idea. So thank you. And for finding that valuable, because that has been my goal is, hopefully if anybody who knows me or has had an opportunity to get to know me, I just want to help, and I do lots and lots of calls where, I always tell my docs, hey, even if we never work together, if you just need a lifeline, if you just need somebody to reach out to and say, hey, I need to ask somebody this question. I don't know where to get the answer. I would rather spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes on a phone giving goodwill and putting it out there, because I believe it always comes back around. And Tracy, what an inspiration to know that something that I put out however many years ago has, maybe was one little bit that led you to where you're at, and what an inspiration you are within what you're doing as well. So that's very, very nice.
You are truly a badass.
That was the May 2015. May 2015 of Ortho Town.
Yep.
Oh,
check it out.
Oh my gosh.
It's a great resource. Okay, go ahead, Miss Janelle.
All right, guys, it is time for the lightning round.
The lightning round!
This is a time where it's going to be a few minutes on the clock. We're going to ask some fun questions and get some quick answers. Are you ready for this, Jill?
Whew, I think I'm ready. I got it.
Okay, so first question. What are you reading?
Oh, good question. Number one, I'm reading Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter. That's my newest book. And I do audio. I think people might know that I do audio. And then I always buy the book. So that's it by Curtis Jackson or 50 Cent.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice.
that's
Gotta love 50.
cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I read that. That sounds cool.
All right. I saw a picture of Doug in a police uniform. Is he a cop or is that just cosplay?
Nope. Well, no, he is a police officer, 22 years.
Awesome.
He's a sergeant for the Golden Police Department.
Thank him.
Yeah, we appreciate
thank
his
him
service.
for his service.
Yes, absolutely.
So I've got some fun questions to ask you, Jill. It's kind
All
of like
right.
a this or that. YouTube
Okay.
or Netflix?
Netflix,
Facebook or LinkedIn?
Facebook.
Tracy or Scott?
Oh, that's not fair.
Come on. You can't pick me.
We're going to ignore that question. Online shopping or in-store shopping?
Definitely online.
Oh,
That's all I have for the this or that.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so what was your most favorite presentation that you've given?
Ooh, that is a tough one. I think that last year at the Ortho Pearls conference, I did a presentation on just going after your dreams and not being afraid to fail. And it's a little bit more touchy-feely maybe than the, giving advice to doctors. But I just like that one because I feel like that's kind of the essence of where I came from to where I'm at, and I hope to just encourage people. So that was more touchy-feely, but probably one of my favorites.
I love
And we
that.
don't need touchy-feely. That's a good way of mixing it up and balancing things out. And people can relate to that, I would think. So keep going in that direction. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What fall event are you most looking forward to? Like, what live event are you ready to go to this year?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm super excited for the Orthopreneurs that's coming up. That's going to be super fun. And also, I'm very lucky. I love the Ortho Pearls too. So I've got two great events that I'm actually going to be able to speak at and be a part of. And those are two of my favorites. So very excited about both of those.
I love it. And we're going to be there too.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to be there too, so we can all hang out.
Tailgate style or in the conference, whatever works.
Yep. I'm always about hanging out with my peeps.
Yeah, tailgating, like Alyssa said. We're going to tailgate at the Ortho events this year. You were also a speaker at Kyle's TDO Live just a few weeks ago. Who is your favorite other speaker from TDO Live?
Ooh.
Oh gosh, that was just such a good conference. I think Brian Anderson did a great job at bringing all of those little tips. Again, I think everybody did a great job, but I think I really like Brian. He did a great job, I thought.
I love that.
Nice.
All right. What is the best advice you've ever been given?
This is one that I read in a book and I've also heard in a couple different podcasts, but kind of the essence of it is nobody who's ever been more successful than you will ever judge you for where you're at. And, kind of that saying, I'm right where I need to be right now. And I say that to myself all the time because sometimes I get a little in my head and, I'm like, oh my gosh, who am I to be going up and giving this speech or doing this or that? And I always have to take it back to, you know what? Nobody's ever going to judge me if they're more successful than I am. They're not going to judge me for trying to be where they are. And, just that I'm right where I need to be. This is exactly where I'm meant to be right now. So.
Oh, that is huge. You're so humble. I love it.
Nailed it.
What's the one thing you're most looking forward to after quarantine, like when life somewhat gets back to normal?
Date days with Doug. we are like our connectivity, we connect over food and good food, restaurants and drinks, and that is just our get together time, because our schedules are opposite usually and we don't see a lot of each other. That like hanging out and having even though you can order out from restaurants right now, it's just not the same as being able to just be waited on. And I so appreciate our restaurant crowd out there, and I can't wait for them to come back. So date days with Doug, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Love it.
I love it. Okay, and then my last question is, it's about baby Bear, right? Your grandson's name is Bear, right?
Yes.
And
Barrett. His name is actually Barrett, but I call him Baby Bear.
Oh, so cute. And is he your first?
He is. He's my first grandbaby, and he's just so sweet. He just learned to roll. So, Jordan's one of the best things is we get to FaceTime a lot, because we haven't been able to see him as much. And videos, we always get weekly updated videos on him cooing and talking, and now he's rolling. So
That is so cute. So cute.
yes.
Well, that was an amazing episode. Thank you so much, Jill, for coming and letting us, pick your brain a little bit. And I love spending time with you, and I just love what you do for our industry and what a role model you've been and what a good friend. And I love having you in my circle, and I'm so excited that we got to do this together. Thank you, friends. But most of all, thank you, Jill. Hope you had fun.
Thank you guys, Tracy, Janelle, and Scott. It's just been an absolute pleasure. And I am so excited that you are doing this Straight Talk night show or whatever it's, I love the essence of it. It's just so exactly what our industry needs. And just thank you. Thank you for bringing it to us.
Jill, you're definitely a badass. So stay awesome, my friend. On behalf of Scott, Tracy, and myself, don't ever change. We really look up to you, and we appreciate your time on the show today.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Well, that is a wrap on Straight Talk episode 3. Jill Allen, thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
Take care, guys.
Cheers. See you guys.
Bye.